The rituals of Cherry's flock incorporated many Jewish practices and prohibitions alongside with some Christian traditions. For example, during prayer, the men wore skull caps and congregants faced the east. In addition, members of the church were not permitted to eat pork. Prayers were accompanied by musical instruments and gospel singing. After Cherry's death, members of the church believed he had left temporarily and will reappear soon in the spirit to lead the church through his son. All right. Now this on the screen right here is a picture of William S. Crowdy, who I'm gonna read to you about next. All right. Alright, now we're going to move on to William S. Crowdy. And that F.S. Cherry said he was on the scene in 1886. Alright, I had some scriptures annotated. Let me see if I'm going to bring them up. Alright. Yeah, can I read you Galatians 1 and 13? It says, "For ye have heard of my conversion in time past in the Jews' religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the church of God and wasted it." It's talking about Paul. "And profited in the Jews' religion above many my equals in my own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the traditions of my fathers." All right. So these people were being zealous in the traditions of their fathers. Now we're going to read about this man, William Saunders Crowdy. All right, the article says this: "The Church of God and Saints of Christ was established in Lawrence, Kansas in 1896 by William Saunders Crowdy. The group established its headquarters in Philadelphia in 1899, and Crowdy later relocated to Washington, D.C. in 1903. After Crowdy's death in 1908, the church continued to grow under the leadership of William Henry Plummer, who moved the organization's headquarters to its permanent location in Belleville, Virginia in 1921. In 1936, the Church of God and Saints of Christ had more than 200 tabernacles or congregations and 37,000 members. Howard Zebulon Plummer succeeded his father and became head of the organization in 1931. His son, Levi Solomon Plummer, became the church's leader in 1975. Since 2001, the Church of God and Saints of Christ has been led by Rabbi Jehu A. Crowdy Jr., a great-grandson of William Saunders Crowdy. As of 2005, it had 50 tabernacles in the United States and dozens in Africa. All right, and this is a picture. This is a picture of that original church and headquarters. All right. All right, that's a picture of the original place of worship. Now I'm gonna try to see if I can get a picture of who they say was the current leader, Rabbi Jehu A. Crowdy. I guess this might be a picture of him right here. Alright. See, he has on the garment or whatever, down to the foot. Alright. So we're going to move on. All right, the article says this: the Church of God and Saints of Christ describe itself as the oldest African American congregation in the United States that adheres to the tenets of Judaism. It teaches that all Jews had been black originally and that African Americans are descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. Members believe that Jesus was neither God nor the Son of God, but rather an adherent to Judaism and a prophet. They also consider William Saunders Crowdy to be a prophet. The Church of God and go back up to Crowdy now. All right, it says the Church of God and Saints of Christ synthesizes rituals from both Judaism and Christianity. They have adopted rites drawn from both the Old Testament and New Testament. Its Jewish observances include the circumcision of newborn boys, uses of the Hebrew calendar, wearing yarmulkes, observance of Saturday as the Sabbath, and celebration of the Passover. Its New Testament rites include baptism, immersion, and foot washing, both of which have Old Testament origins. All right, and of course, according to Genesis 17:10, we definitely supposed to adhere to the circumcision. All right, so I'm gonna read you Genesis 17:10. It says this: "This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. Ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of your covenant betwixt me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, and every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house or bought with money of a stranger, which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house and he that is bought with thy money must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man whose flesh of the foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from the people. He have broken my covenant." All right. Now, under the guidance of the New Testament, these days that's more of a spiritual circumcision. But also, we know before the New Testament or New Covenant came into the play, that was a very serious deal, because Moses almost got taken out for not circumcising one of his sons. All right. And it also says that they go by the Hebrew calendar. Now the Hebrew calendar, all right, is not based around the sun like the Julian and Gregorian calendar that we go off of today. It's actually based around the moon, which the moon is what the Hebrew calendar is based on, because the Hebrews went around the tenets that went around the moon for their calendar. Because I'm gonna read you this. This is Ecclesiasticus 43:5. It says, "Great is the Lord that made it, and at his commandment it runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. For the moon is the sign of feast, and a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being the instruments of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven." All right, the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, and ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. All right, so our calendar is based around the moon. All right, we go off the moon to figure out what time it is and when a certain feast is and when a certain Sabbath is or a holiday is. All right, this is Psalms 81:3. It says, "Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob." See that? This is Psalms 104:19 dealing with the moon. It says this: "He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down." See that? I'm going to read it again. It says he appointed the moon for seasons. All right. So our calendar is supposed to be based around the moon. All right. Like it's saying this church kept. Now let's go to I'm gonna keep reading on in this article about Wentworth, author Matthew, and that's a picture of this man right here on the screen. All right, that's a picture of that man right there.